Over the last few years, we've seen a big effort on the state level to fight against and even counteract federal gun control laws. This has mostly manifested in the Second Amendment sanctuary movement and a couple attempts at a Second Amendment Preservation Act, which of course the Biden administration is fighting. But now there's an attempt to legalize certain items from the NFA list down in Tennessee, which I surprisingly only found out about through Twitter. A quick internet search turned up only the bill itself and not a single video or article about it, whether for or against, at least in the first couple pages of results. Before I read you the bill, I'd like to give a shout out to today's sponsor, the United States Concealed Carry Association. The USCCA provides responsibly armed Americans like you with life-saving education, training, and members are also covered under their liability insurance in the event of a self-defense situation. To get USCCA in your corner, go to uscca.com/libertydoll. House Bill 2509 was introduced on February 2nd and, as introduced, removes a short barrel rifle or shotgun from the list of weapons the possession, manufacture, transport, repair, or sale of which is prohibited under state law. It would do this by amending Tennessee Code Title 39, Chapter 17, Part 13. Currently, the Tennessee law in question, quote, prohibits any person from intentionally or knowingly possessing, manufacturing, transporting, repairing, or selling a short barrel rifle or shotgun. The law also classifies it as a Class E felony, which is punishable by 1 to 6 years in prison and a fine of up to $3 grand. It's the least serious felony in the state, but still a dumb rule and not something you want on your record for obvious reasons. There are, of course, exceptions for FFLs, cops, and the military. The bill, if passed, would repeal such an offense and would authorize an individual to possess, manufacture, transport, repair, or sell a short barrel rifle or shotgun in Tennessee. According to the fiscal report connected to the bill, there has been an average of 1.7 people a year charged and processed under the current law over the last decade. So, like, one person plus a dude missing an arm or leg a year. Because 0.7? Yeah, moving on. Anyway, those 1.7 people aren't specifically charged for SBRs or shotguns, as that part of the law also includes machine guns and explosives. This point was listed as one of the justifications for passing the bill. The bill was also introduced in the state Senate as Bill 2628. It passed the Senate on April 7th with 23 yeses and only 1 no. It passed the House on April 25th with 80 votes for it and 7 against. So far, I can't find any information on the governor's thoughts on this bill and the chances of it getting signed. But that being said, the fiscal report does note that being stamped under the NFA is a valid defense against possession charges, so this isn't some F the NFA battle charge. This new bill, as written, doesn't outright say you still have to follow the NFA, but it is still implied via the fiscal report and the fact that the Fed boys don't give a f about your rights. Because I can't find any information on what pro-gun groups are saying on the ground, it's entirely possible that this is just a nothing burger designed to scrub some excess text from the books. After all, Texas tried to sidestep the NFA recently with a bill that attempted to exempt Texas-made suppressors and forbade state authorities from enforcing the NFA on these specific items. It hasn't done anything to change the actual buying process and needs a court judgment on its constitutionality to hold any teeth. Attorney General Paxton filed a lawsuit against the ATF in February, stating the alphabet agency violates the Second Amendment rights of Texans to buy suppressors with regulations and taxation that goes against state law. But technically, the ATF gets a lot of its weight from abusing interstate commerce rules. And again, doesn't seem to give a f*** about the Second Amendment. Kansas, great example, also passed a similar law in 2014. One guy sold an unregistered suppressor to another, both ended up with federal convictions, and the Supreme Court upheld those convictions when they refused to take the case in 2019. Plus, manufacturers and FFLs are still subject to their end of the NFA, and transferring an SBR without the right federal paperwork would cost them their license. The ATF sent out an open letter to all Texas FFLs saying exactly that when the suppressor bill was passed. So, unfortunately, even if this Tennessee bill is signed, it's unlikely to do much, at least until there's an answer in the Texas lawsuit. I guess we'll just have to stay tuned to find out. So, in any case, that is it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Cross your T's on those Texas and Tennessee tax stamps, and check out the description for other ways to support the channel. As always, thanks for tuning in, stay safe, and happy shooting.